Today, we're going to analyze Natco Pharma's latest concall. The structure of this session is going to be basically a question is going to be asked by an investor, and the management is going to answer. We're going to read the answers and some statements also by management. So, let us start. All right. Our objective is to see what is the growth trajectory of the company looking like in the near future. All right. Let us start. So, first, question has been asked regarding domestic semaglutide. Okay. Domestic semaglutide, we were given phase 3 clinical trials somewhere in December or January earlier this year. So typically, how long does it take? All right, the answer for the domestic semaglutide is very important. We are on target. I think the review is all completed. If you file in December, we are hoping that we will be in the first wave, which is we are hoping the market will open around March. So we expect around March. So they're expecting semaglutide domestic launch in India to be around March, and this is important for the company. The next question is regarding the insecticide business. So CTPR is their insecticide fertilizer subsidiary small company they had. So let's see the question. Sorry, the statement. This is a statement. I think the CTPR, that is the insecticide, has done well. Especially CTPR combinations have done well. If you look at the business now, it has grown to 52 crores this quarter. Okay. So we are at least close to EBITDA positive now. Earlier we were losing money. Give or take the R&D expense here, but I think we are about EBITDA positive at this time. So it is in a good place. I think we have announced earlier that we will demerge this business from the main company and list it separately, and we're targeting that for the year 2026. Okay, insecticide business, 52 crores, is doing well, was earlier in a loss and is now EBITDA positive, and they're demerging it and listing it around in 2026. They're listing the company there. Then moving on. Next question. And something more on the India business barring semaglutide. If you can just give us a little bit more color on how the business has really fared over the last couple of quarters. How do you see it moving extra for semaglutide? How do you see it going forward? And per se, what are your own views on how relevant is SEMA for us from a domestic market perspective over the next couple of years? So he's asking about overall the India business. How is the business doing other than semaglutide, and how will it do with semaglutide? That's the question. The base India business. The answer. I think domestic has done well, and I think it has been stable as you can see. I think this quarter we had the launch of Risdiplam, which is also doing reasonably well. It is not a large product, but nevertheless, it will strengthen the base business. The base business, the India business. I think the biggest one will be semaglutide. Okay. Hopefully, if all regulatory approvals, spendings, every other thing goes well, we should be in the first wave. That's good. So, which I anticipate on May, March, or April. I think everything is on target. My sense is that we will do well next year. I think the domestic business should do reasonably well. And I think semaglutide obviously is a big one. So I think that and the smaller brands should do well. So as a summary, the the India business is stable. They had the launch of a drug named Risdiplam, and they believe or they're hoping they will be they're optimistic they will be in the first wave of domestic semaglutide, which is like the weight loss drug, a variation of that in India. So stable India business, and they feel that semaglutide is the big thing they will be launching for the India business. It's okay. Next question is regarding any commentary on a key subsidiary to outside of the US in attempts of launches and the kind of scale up you had up in the business. All right. The US business. Answer. December quarter will be the first quarter where we will not have Revlimid substantially. So I think this will be in a way a very different type of quarter. So Revlimid is extremely important for the company. Its financials make up a massive amount of their sales, like 30 something percent, or around half of their profits, somewhere around that. So December quarter will be the first quarter where they will not have Revlimid. But my sense is that we are stable. I think we are looking good. I think we have good launches in Brazil. They're the first generic of carfilzomib, which is like an anti-cancer drug in Brazil. First, that is doing reasonably well. In the ROW or the rest of the world business, I think Saudi is doing well. I think Canada business also, after the warning letter being lifted in Kothur, are able to do more supplies to Canada. So in sense, our overall rest of world business is doing well. Domestic is stable, and we have some very good launches lined up in the US next year. I think overall we are very excited and believe that rest of world should do well. So Saudi was mentioned, doing well. Brazil, first one in the anti-cancer drug carfilzomib, but there will be loss of Revlimid. But other than that, they say things are looking stable. Okay. Hi, good evening, Rajiv and Rajesh. Rajiv, any particular launches you want to call out in the US for fiscal year 2027, 2028? Okay. The question, the US business, very important. Any launches? Answer. No, I cannot, because they're all bound by confidentiality. We have stated, we have shared a para 4 pipeline, which is in the presentation. Para 4 is like documents they have given to the FDA, very simplified simplification documents given to the FDA for filing for new drugs and all of that. It's kind of like an approval thing. But exactly you cannot name them until we are closer to a launch. Now, very important. I think you should expect in 2026, 2027, we will have one or two, but bigger launches are happening in 2027, 2028. So 2026, 2027 will be a bit dull. But I guess near the end of 2027 and then 2028 onwards, things will pick up. So 2027 ending time and 2028 is where we are looking at things to pick up. Okay, what is this? Is page 7. Yes. All right. Now he's talking. This is another statement by management. I think we need to understand one thing. Now, lenalidomide is gone. So, what are we going to have are numbers without substantial contribution of lenalidomide. I will speak only for the next 6 months because I do not want to talk about next year. Okay, lenalidomide. All right. This is the important. We will have more clarity next few months. We expect a run rate, that is a quarterly revenue, to be around 750 to 800 crores of revenue, and profit after tax to be somewhere around 135 to 150 crores of quarterly profit. Okay. We're expecting the next few quarters the quarterly revenue rate to be 750 to 800 CR. EAT quarterly should be 135 to 150. If we compare this to their latest quarterly results, okay, latest quarterly results, we have sales and operating profit. So sales of around 1300 crores, 1200 crores, 1300 crores, in that range. Operating profit 500 crores, 500 crores is operating profit. Net profit of 500 crores, 600 crores, 400 crores. So from here, we are going to 750 to 800 crores of sales, and EAT going from 500, 600 to 135 to 150 crores. So pain in the short run. Basically, pain in the short run. That is where the business is going to. Then the next line is this. He's talking about Natco's success. What are they planning to do? Okay, their DNA in a sense. The trick in this business is that you keep doing something innovative all the time, and then you get that jackpot which can give you that something special. So we are keep trying different things. I think we have a lot of first to file, first document to file to get approval for a generic, that is first to file FTF, that are in the next 10 years. If you look at a pipeline, we have semaglutide, which is a few years away. We have ibratunib, blood cancer thing. This is a big drug, ibratunib, which is a few years away. We have olaparib, we have erdafitinib, and they will play out over the next few years. Hold up. Let me just, yeah, now. But I think about 2027 March, we do not have anything. But I think post 2027 March, so important date, post 2027 March, some of the smaller first to files will start paying up, and we will hit that very large number and all. When we will hit that very large number and all, it is all contingent on what pipeline that we have and what we file. Which drugs are they filing for? Which drugs do we actually get? So you just have to be patient and just look like at a pipeline, and somewhere we will get a breakthrough. The base will grow around 10 to 15% every year. I think with the new base that has been set, and then the upside is always there depending on what order it is. So there's going to be short term pain, but they're looking at some key drugs. Semaglutide in India and the US is the main thing. Semaglutide in US launch. Ibrutinib is big thing. Olaparib is big. Ibrutinib few years away. Edafitinib next few years. Post 2027 March, smaller of these drugs in size and revenue potential, they'll start paying up. They're expecting. Then they will hit that very large number. And see, they're saying again jackpots. So this business, Natco, their DNA is being very volatile, but looking for jackpots to give them massive growth. They're not looking at linear growth, that 10% this year, 10% next year, 10% after that, but looking for maybe this year no business, maybe next year 30% decline, but onwards they're looking at 60% growth, 60% growth, 100% growth, something like that. So not linear growth is that new business. Then their base business will grow 10 to 15%. So the business which is not volatile, which is not the jackpot one, which is the recurring stable business, they're expecting it to grow 10 to 15% per year. So March 2027 onwards is the critical date I guess we should be looking at. All right. Now he's talking about the semaglutide launch in US. A question is being asked about semaglutide launch in the US. See, mark US. Very important. The answer is US will take some time. Launch is a few years away. And a regulatory file is still under review, and we're answering some queries, and launch date is a few years away. So they have said a few years, which is nice, not many years, but few. What does few mean? You know, I've heard dates of like 2030 mentioned, 2020, 2032 mentioned, but let's see, we don't have anything substantial right now. Now, a question. I would like to ask that you have said 200 to 250 crores profit after tax in the second half. Additional PAT will include this Adcock Ingram of how it will come. All right. So he's asking that they said 130 to 150 crores of profit. Remember, per quarter, that is what they're expecting it to be. So H2, that is the second half, that is quarter three plus quarter four, that would be like 130 into 2. So 260-ish crores profit after tax. Does this guidance that they gave earlier, like we read earlier, does this include the profit from Adcock Ingram? That is the latest South African acquisition, the pharmaceutical company they acquired. So the answer is yes, we are doing that. Rupees 235, 150 crores a quarter from quarter three onwards, and partially in this quarter and fully in quarter four, and that includes Ingram. That is correct. So it will be around 270 to 300 crores of profit after tax for the second half of the year. All right, all right. The guidance, again repeating it, we have done 1000 crores for the first half, profit after tax 1000 crores for quarter one plus quarter two combined. And I'm giving a guidance for around 275 to 300 crores for the second half. We will end the year with 1275 to 1300 crores of profit after tax. That is the target. Okay. So big decline, but they have been expecting this. This was known. Then the South Africa will contribute 30, 25, 30% of our base earnings. So the stable recurring business, the base, South Africa will contribute 25, 30%. All right. Moving onwards. Let's move to the next page. Another question. Another question. So this is a statement. This is a statement. For a domestic business, which is not a very large business, a domestic is only around 450 crores annually. So for a business, if we add like even 80 to 90 crores for us, 80 to 90 crores from semaglutide, domestic semaglutide, they're saying that it is like a 20% jump in a base business, which is a pretty nice number. Will it be a jackpot which will generate, let's say, 800 or 1000 crores for us in semaglutide India launch? No, it is not going to happen. So, this India launch semaglutide is not a jackpot. It will not bring 800, 1000 crores of revenue. No, they're expecting it to bring a nice 20% ish jump, like a nice, decent ish jump, but not a jackpot for them. All right. Now question is, sir, can it not be that once it is off patent, that you can launch it in the rest of the world and maybe other markets? Or which will be more profitable for you, the USA, FTF, or the India launch semaglutide? What is the more important business? Sorry, what is the more important market for semaglutide, USA or the India launch right now? So he has said, okay, he has said that even if semaglutide becomes off patent, okay, the Ozempic drug off patent, management has said US any day, US by far, there's no comparison. It is like 100x difference. So maybe the jackpot, one of the biggest jackpots, or maybe the biggest jackpot is the semaglutide launch in the US, and it's still a few years away. Okay, question. Let me be clear, right? What is the revenue expectation or projection from your perspective for the next 5 years? From the pipeline perspective, whatever you have in the pipeline, past, present, or emerging, right? All of these put together for the next 5 years down the line from now, what is the revenue that you project? I think that is the order book, right? She's asking, next 5 years, what is in the pipeline? And what do you mean by pipeline, if anyone is wondering? Like literally imagine a pipe, okay? In that pipe, let's say you put your future products, kind of like your future products. So it's going down the pipe. So basically, future products, let's say future products are in the pipeline. We say it's in the pipeline. So yes, it's being developed, you know, research is being done, regulatory filings have been filed, documents have been submitted to the whatever authorities required, sales teams, all of that. So it's in the progress, basically, pipeline, all right? Not definite. Pipeline doesn't mean definite, but more stuff has been going on. Now, this is the last paragraph and is the maybe the more important one. Answer is, I think you see right now we expect a 10 to 15% growth in a base business. And once exclusivity starts coming in, I think we will see a little more jump. We will have some years where we will have, let's say, a 50 to 60% jump in our profits. So we will do a reset. So I think starting from, let's say, 2026, 2027 will be a bit slow. I think based on the guidance you have given. Okay. But I think all the big launches are coming in 2027, 2028, and then slowly we have things in 2029. So I think what you need to do now is think of it as two buckets. The base business with the rest of world spreading, where we have to grow around 10 to 15%. So base business is India business plus the rest of the world business, which is spreading, growing around 10 to 15%. Then the years where the exclusivity, that the first generics coming for major drugs, okay, first generics, meaning like they can have a 180 days exclusivity. They are the first generic for the major drug for the first 180 days. That is exclusivity. Okay, the first one, you will see a substantial jump in profits, and the opportunities are already there in a presentation. So depending on the size of the opportunity, it will play out. Some of them are 25 million US dollars, $30 million type of opportunities. We have a couple of them which are 100 million to 150 million types of opportunities. So depending on what comes in, I think that is what you will see. I think that is how we want to look at it. That is it. Overall summary, I think all the con calls read before also about the next 5 10 years, management seems to be pretty confident and optimistic because they keep repeating next 5 10 years, 2026 is going to be slow, 2027 is going to be bad, you're going to see growth from 2027 onwards, and seems to be pretty optimistic that there's going to be a decline, but after that they have a lot of things in the pipeline, they will keep innovating and they will try to hit that jackpot drug. We've already discussed which those drugs could be, but yeah, some of them 25 30 million, some of them 100 $150 million kind of businesses. So that is it. That is Natco Farmers. Let's see how the business does in the future. One more thing, I think I could mention this. Should I mention it? I was thinking if they're doing 700 to 50 to 800 crores worth of revenue, they said they were expecting to do, and 130 to 140, that brings us to almost a 20% profit after tax margin, right? Around a 20%, almost 20%, which is, I think, in line with the other like Indian businesses. So it would not be left behind in terms of profit margins. But yeah, that's pretty interesting to think about. That is it. Bye. uh, what the timings March sorry, the March April 2026 we have, they're expecting the semaglutide India launch. March 2027 onwards, they're expecting some of the first to files and the major drugs, the smaller of the major drugs, to start paying out. So these are the, I guess, the important dates and timelines.